African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoy, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of November 9, 2025. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue the special military operation. Units of the North Troop Group inflicted defeat on the formations of the Ranger and two mechanized brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine in the areas of the settlements of Khoten, Pisarevka, Novaya Sech, Iskryskivshchyna, and Kondratovka in the Sumy region. In the Kharkiv direction, units of a motorized infantry brigade of the armed forces of Ukraine were defeated in the area of the settlement of Volchansk, Kharkiv region. Losses of the armed forces of Ukraine amounted to more than 160 servicemen, 12 vehicles, and a 155mm self-propelled artillery system Bogdana. A radar station, an ammunition depot, and 3 supply warehouses were destroyed. Units of the West Troop Group improved their position along the front line. They inflicted defeat on personnel and equipment of a tank brigade, 2 mechanized brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine, a territorial defense brigade, and 2 National Guard brigades in the areas of the settlements of Grashevka, Kurilovka, Bogoslavka, Kitsevka, Berezovka in the Kharkiv region, Yerovaya, Dybrova, and Yampol in the Donetsk People's Republic. In the area of the settlement of Kupyansk, Kharkiv region, assault detachments of the 6th Army continue to destroy the encircled enemy. 6 attacks were repelled by units of the 151st and 116th Mechanized Brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the 1st and 13th National Guard Brigades from the areas of the settlements Monikanovka, Nechvolodovka, Kupyansk-Uzlovoy, Osinovo, and Petrovka in the Kharkiv region, aimed at breaking the encirclement of Ukrainian formations. 16 enemy hexacopters of the Baba Yaga type attempting to deliver ammunition and medical supplies to the encircled units were shot down by air observation posts and mobile fire groups. In the past day in the area of the settlement of Kupyansk, Kharkiv region, up to 50 servicemen, 2 Kazakh armored combat vehicles, a US-made Paladin self-propelled artillery system, 5 pickups, and 2 electronic warfare stations were destroyed. In total, in the area of responsibility of the West Troop Group, losses of Ukrainian armed formations amounted to up to 220 servicemen, 3 armored combat vehicles including the US-made M113 armored personnel carrier, 20 vehicles, and 2 self-propelled artillery systems. A US-made and TPQ-36 counter-battery radar station, 8 electronic warfare stations, and 4 ammunition depots were destroyed. Units of the South Troop Group occupied more advantageous lines and positions. They inflicted defeat on formations of 4 mechanized, motorized infantry, assault, airmobile, mountain assault brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine, and 2 territorial defense brigades in the areas of the settlements Konstantinovka, Zakotnoye, Stepanovka, Slavyansk, Seversk, Ivanopoli, Sofievka, and Zvanovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost up to 130 servicemen, 2 tanks, 2 armored combat vehicles, 18 vehicles, and a US-made 155mm Paladin self-propelled artillery system. 2 electronic warfare stations, 2 ammunition depots, and a fuel depot were destroyed. Units of the Center Troop Group improved their tactical position. They inflicted defeat on personnel and equipment of 6 mechanized, 3 Ranger, 2 airborne assault brigades, 3 assault regiments of the armed forces of Ukraine, 4 Marine brigades, a territorial defense brigade, and 4 National Guard brigades in the areas of the settlements Grashino, Dimitrov, Rosa Luxemburg, Artemovka, Rodinskoy, Turetskoy, Kotlino, Belitskoy in the Donetsk People's Republic, and Ivanovka in the Dnipropetrovsk region. In the settlement of Krasnoarmeysk, Donetsk People's Republic, assault groups of the 2nd Army successfully conducted offensive operations in the Dynas microdistrict and continued destroying encircled Ukrainian formations in the northwestern and eastern quarters of the Central District and in the territory of the Western Industrial Zone. 7 attacks by Ukrainian formations were repelled from the area of the settlement Rybnoe in the Donetsk People's Republic. Units of the East Troop Group advanced deep into the enemy's defense and liberated the settlement of Rybnoe in the Zaporizhzhia region. They inflicted defeat on formations of 2 mechanized brigades, an assault regiment of the armed forces of Ukraine, and 2 territorial defense brigades in the areas of the settlements Yablukovo, Huliapol, Novo in the Zaporizhzhia region, Velikomikhailovka, and Nechivka in the Dnipropetrovsk region. The armed forces of Ukraine lost up to 255 servicemen, 3 armored combat vehicles, 12 vehicles, 4 field artillery guns, and a counter-battery radar station. Units of the Dnieper Troop Group inflicted defeat on personnel and equipment of 2 mechanized brigades and a coastal defense brigade of the armed forces of Ukraine in the areas of the settlements Novoandrievka, Stepnogorsk, Orkhov in the Zaporizhzhia region, and Antonovka in the Kherson region. Up to 95 servicemen, 14 vehicles, a field artillery gun, 8 electronic warfare stations, and 2 ammunition depots were destroyed. Operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, missile troops, and artillery of the armed forces of the Russian Federation inflicted damage on energy facilities supporting the operation of enterprises of the Ukrainian military-industrial complex, transport infrastructure used in the interests of the armed forces of Ukraine, as well as temporary deployment points of Ukrainian armed formations and foreign mercenaries in 143 districts. Air defense systems shot down a long-range guided missile Neptune, 7 HIMARS multiple launch rocket system rockets produced in the USA, and 247 fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles. Since the beginning of the special military operation, the following have been destroyed: 668 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 95,801 unmanned aerial vehicles, 635 anti-aircraft missile systems, 25,925 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 1,611 multiple launch rocket system vehicles, 31,194 field artillery guns and mortars, 46,243 units of special military automotive equipment. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.